Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we of course have to talk about the prices because I know a lot of people are getting scared, depressed. They think the market top is in and the bears are out in full force. I see them in the comment section. The top is in. You should all be scared. You should all run for the hills. But if you've been a subscriber to this podcast, you know we're not emotional about markets. We're educated. We're looking at the data, the metrics, and signals and forming our thesis. And of course, as I shared in yesterday's podcast, bull market's not over. I also did a newsletter today on Substack. It's 100% free, so make sure you subscribe where I outline all the different factors. Guys, global liquidity is still hitting new highs, and Bitcoin is heading towards the oversold zone on the daily chart from the RSI perspective. But as I've been telling you guys over the past 2.5 weeks, that the bears were in control because the MACD on the weekly chart showed that. So they are still in control. But what have we seen? The cyclical pattern. Bears will get control, but then Bitcoin goes to the oversold and reverses and then goes to the overbought and the bulls get in control, right? It's a cyclical pattern. It's kind of oscillating. So if you don't understand this by now, you really have to look at the charts, look at RSI, look at MACD. It's what I've been sharing for a long time. So you got to make sure that you understand these concepts so that you're not just a emotional roller coaster, like trying to figure out what the hell is happening. You are basing your thesis, your investment thesis on facts, on data, what the charts are showing us. And obviously, we're looking at multiple factors, not just one. So watch out for the bears. You're going to see a lot of people post negative things, but they won't give you facts. They won't give you data. I always say when people comment on my posts, whether it be on social media or on YouTube, and they'll say, oh, the top is in. I'm like, okay, what factors are you looking at? Show me, prove it, right? They usually can't because they are just going off emotions, and many of them are shorting. So they want you to feel fear. They want you to panic sell and all these things. It's just the nature of the markets. But guys, we are fact focused, we are data focused, and the market is still up and running here. We're still in the bull market. I believe a face melting rally is coming in Q4 because I see the sentiment right now and people are getting just depressed. And you look, it's funny because it's almost like you want that to happen because it means the rally coming up is going to be even bigger. I say that being here for 3 bull market cycles and multiple bear market cycles because I've seen it time and time again. And you sometimes you try to explain to people, but they just don't get it, and they just need to educate themselves. But those of you who've been around the block, you know what I'm talking about. The more fear there is in a bull market, my goodness, the stronger the rally will be. And then another factor I'm looking at is that Bitcoin whales are still accumulating. There's no dumping. So I look at on-chain data from Sentiment, which shows wallet of 10 or more Bitcoin. They continue to accumulate. So everything's still intact here. And this may be the biggest factor that the bull market's not over, folks. Look at this. Jim Cramer today posted, I would like to see a pause in the endless rally of speculation, gold, crypto, and profitless companies. Get ready for a Q4 face melting rally that will bring tons of retail in. I don't know if it leads us to the top, but it could be the rally, a local top before we hit the blow off top in possibly Q1 2026. And now I'm saying possibly because we're following global liquidity. We're looking at some of these different signals, and we still have to see how the dust settles here as things progress. But guys, this is a major signal. Inverse Cramer. How many times have we seen this? So the man is calling for the pause. He doesn't like it, right? According to his post here. And the markets do the opposite of this. So this is very, very bullish. All right, let's move ahead, guys. Big news. US lawmakers urge the SEC to implement Trump's August 7th executive order allowing 401k retirement savings to invest in Bitcoin and crypto. Now, of course, it's more than Bitcoin and crypto, but this will open up trillions of dollars to come into these different asset classes. And this letter was from US lawmakers in the House. In fact, 9 of them. So let me give you the details here. So the US lawmakers sent a letter to SEC Chair Paul Atkins to help accelerate the executive order enabling crypto investments in U.S. 401k retirement plans. In the letter on Monday, 9 lawmakers, including House Financial Services Committee Chairman French Hill and Subcommittee on Capital Markets Chairman Ann Wagner, said that Atkins was asked to provide swift assistance to the Secretary of Labor and to make any necessary adjustments to its current regulations and guidance. So many of you know French Hill. I've had him on the podcast many times. And in fact, today I published my interview with Tom Emmer. Make sure you catch that. That gives an update on the Clarity Act. But this right here is a big catalyst as well, because you can imagine the mainstream news is going to run with this, and a lot of financial advisors will then be talking to their clients to be able to push some of their capital, their money into crypto. So this is maybe one of those big narrative items, along with the Clarity Act passing, that will spark a massive bull run, and it aligns with what we're expecting in Q4. So they also noted that under President Trump's August executive order on democratizing access to alternative assets for 401k investors, the SEC was instructed to make alternative assets like crypto more accessible in participant-directed retirement plans in consideration of accredited investor and qualified purchaser rules. Here's a quote: "We hope that such actions will help 90 million Americans that are currently restricted from investing in alternative assets to secure a dignified, comfortable retirement," the 9 lawmakers said. Now, I will be interviewing Commissioner Hester Peirce this week in my New York studio on Wednesday. So I'll be sure to ask her the details around this and, what the SEC is thinking, as much as she can share. But this is very bullish, folks. A lot of capital could be ushered into the crypto asset. Now, I want to make sure I'm clear. Not all of it will go into crypto, because this opening up of investments, it goes beyond crypto. So just want to make sure I let you guys know about that. Now, some big news here. The US and UK have formed a joint task force to explore crypto regulatory collaboration. So this is big. And look, we've talked about this on the podcast for years. All the governments are on board. You can imagine all these things are being discussed by central banks, and when they meet at Davos and all that, right? They all have the marching orders here, and they're all going to get on the same page. This technology is going to be running the markets, the economies, the governments. Like I've said many times, voting will go on the blockchain. Your payments to and from the government will go on the blockchain. Tax payment, all those things, right? Markets, we see tokenization is happening and much more. So, guys, this is the direction the puck's heading in. So this should come as no surprise, but it's of course very bullish, because once we get more countries on board and they open up more financial products and more on-ramps of capital, you know what's going to happen to the prices of the assets. So Treasury authorities in the US and UK have announced the formation of a transatlantic task force to explore short to medium term collaboration on digital assets. In Monday notices, the US Treasury Department and the HM Treasury said the cross-country effort taking place through the already established UK-US Financial Regulatory Working Group would release a report with recommendations within 180 days. The new task force, called the Transatlantic Task Force for Markets of the Future, will consider crypto laws and regulations, as well as how the two countries can collaborate on wholesale digital markets innovation. Folks, I've often said I'm not just bullish on this bull market and what I can make in this market, but the future bull markets, because once the legislation's in, and it's going to take time, right? The governments have to pass it, but then it has to be implemented, and then all the different companies and financial institutions have to take their time to ramp up and build. So those things will take time. I think it happens over the bear market, and it's going to prepare us for a massive run in 2028 to 2030. So this is very, very good here. Now, quick word from our sponsor, folks, and that is VeChain. VeChain is one of the top layer one enterprise blockchains out there. I'm a VET token holder. I have been since 2018, folks. I'm bullish on this project. VeChain is getting a lot of adoption from many different companies and brands around the globe. Some of the key features of the VeChain blockchain includes it is secure, affordable, scalable, fast, and sustainable. And some of the brands working with them include Givenchy, PwC, that's a top 4 accounting firm, Walmart China, BMW, even Boston Consulting Group. And they recently partnered with Dana White in the UFC, doing some really cool things there. And VeChain also recently launched staking via Stargate. So a lot's happening in this ecosystem. And like I said, I'm a vet token holder, so I have skin in the game. I believe in this project. So if you'd like to learn more about VeChain, go to vchain.org. Link will be in the description. Now, look at this news. This is really big. PayPal Ventures invests in stable to expand PYUSD reach. So the stablecoin wars are heating up. The race is heating up here. Big players making big moves, right? So PayPal, as many of you know, they have their own stablecoin called PYUSD. And the issuer of that stablecoin is Paxos. I recently interviewed Charles Cascarilla, co-founder and CEO of Paxos, and I had interviewed Edwin Aoki last year of PayPal. I will be possibly interviewing someone from PayPal again to bring you guys all the details. But this is a big acquisition for them. And let me give once again the details here. PayPal Ventures has invested in Stable to bring PayPal USD PYUSD to Stable Chain, aiming to expand its distribution and make global payments faster and cheaper, according to a blog post on Monday. Stable's blockchain, built for stablecoin transactions with sub-second finality and low fees, is designed to fix the infrastructure issues that have slowed adoption, the company said. The size of the investment was not disclosed. So, folks, again, the race is on. Most recently, we heard Tether is launching USAT in the United States. Circle continues to expand their partnerships. Ripple's doing their thing with RLUSD. So competition's heating up here, guys, which is great. It's great for the consumer, and it's great to see these things play out. And, over time, we'll see who the winners are and possibly some consolidation, right? Usually a bigger player may buy up the smaller players and things like that. But we know that Tether is still the world's largest stablecoin. It is distributed across the globe. So we'll see how these other players steal market share. But nevertheless, some big names here. And look, the banks, I think, are going to launch their own stable coins. We've heard Citibank looking to do that, Bank of America. So things are going to get very interesting. All right, let's talk about some digital asset treasury company news items here. So AgriFORCE stock rallies on pivot to build AVAX treasury. Many of you know the native token of the Avalanche blockchain is AVAX. I do hold this token in my portfolio. I am bullish on it. So let me give you the details here. Shares of AgriFORCE Growing Systems surged more than 200% at Monday's open after the agriculture technology company announced a pivot into an AVAX digital asset treasury model. The company will rebrand as AVAX One. Wow. Talk about going all in. That's a big rebrand to change the name to your name to the token, and aims to raise $550 million to build a treasury centered on AVAX, the native token of the Avalanche blockchain. According to a Monday press release, the company's goal is to accumulate more than $700 million in AVAX tokens. As a long-term strategy, it also plans to acquire and integrate revenue-generating fintech businesses into the Avalanche network. The funding strategy includes a $300 million private investment in public equity deal, subject to the shareholder approval, and plans to raise another $250 million through equity-linked instruments. This is huge news for AVAX. So if you're an AVAX token holder, this should make you happy. We're seeing a lot of these digital asset treasury companies buying tons of these tokens, and that's only going to drive the prices up of these assets and create more of a supply shock because they're buying a lot of the tokens, right? And you have multiple of these companies. So we're seeing with Bitcoin, Ethereum, AVAX, you got Solana, you got a couple that are doing XRP, and there's even I think some HBAR, Dogecoin. It's pretty wild. And like I said, I hold AVAX in my portfolio, so I'm really happy to see this news. One of the things I keep issuing a caution on, though, is that a bit of a bubble is forming here. So this is where we want to exit this market if you're planning to take profits before any type of bear market collapses. And I'm not saying as soon as we enter a bear market, they're going to collapse, but we've seen in the doldrums of the bear market when liquidity dries up and it gets bloody out there, right? A lot of things start blowing up, a lot of liquidations. We've seen this time and time again. So at that point, I've said many times, I'll be backing up the truck and buying that blood on the street again. That's the time to buy. Once you understand that, folks, and the liquidity cycle and how this all works, it makes the investing part of it easy because you have a thesis that's based on macro data, on-chain data, and much more. All right, final news item here. This is another digital asset treasury news item. So Ramaswamy-backed Strive buys Semler Scientific and Bitcoin Treasury merger. This is huge. So Vivek Ramaswamy, who's part of the Trump administration at one point, we know he launched a Bitcoin Treasury company, and this is a huge acquisition here. So Strive Inc., the asset manager turned Bitcoin Treasury company led by former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, has agreed to acquire Semler Scientific, a move that positions the combined entity as one of the largest corporate holders of Bitcoin. In a Monday announcement, the company said the all stock transaction will grant Semler shareholders Strive shares instead of cash. Each Semler share will be exchanged for 21.05 shares of Strive Class A stock, representing a 210% premium over Semler's pre deal price. Alongside the merger, Strive disclosed it had purchased 5,816 Bitcoin for about $675 million, boosting its total holdings to 5,886 Bitcoin. Before the acquisition, Strive was a relatively minor player in the Bitcoin treasury space with just 70 Bitcoin on its books. So now you're seeing larger Bitcoin treasury companies buying the smaller ones. This is pretty wild. And look at the amount of money, folks. Do you think these people think we are in a bear market? They're panicking. Oh my God, the top is in. No, they're expecting upside, and that's why they're buying the assets. And this is pretty big. And it's once again, these are signals you look at companies doing IPOs, the mergers, the acquisitions, even Michael Saylor and Strategy, they bought more Bitcoin today. They usually do that almost every other week, so it's not really news to report, but they continue buying. And Saylor, he's going to keep buying it as long as he sees upside. So again, bull market's not over. So the combined company now control over or more than 10,900 Bitcoin, making it the 12th largest public Bitcoin holder, ahead of Hut 8 Mining, Block Inc., and Galaxy Digital, according to industry data. Huge things happening, folks. And like I said, it's not over. If you're feeling emotional, if you're feeling like panic selling, you're doing it wrong. Go back to the data. Check out my newsletter, folks. The link will be in the description. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Just go to it. I put charts in there. I put data in there. Skip the Netflix show or skip the TV show and just sit down and read it. Go to tradingview.com. It's free, right? You can learn so much and continue to educate yourself and see where we're at in the cycle and the different factors we're looking at, right? We're looking at multiple factors, not one, not just a handful, because we want to make sure we're making educated decisions here and we're informed. So again, subscribe to the newsletter, guys. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It is available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. If you want to expand your knowledge, learn about the tech, learn about the market cycles, learn about these crypto assets, this is the course for you. It features videos, downloadable materials, full text write-ups, of course. You're going to hear from institutional investors, founders, CEOs. It's all curated here for you. It's easy. Go at your own pace. You can share the login with your friends and family if you want. So the course is packed with tons of value. Check it out. Go to mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.